Well, got an interesting news story, guys, so fasten your seatbelts. We're going to go on a ride. Texas Republicans are pushing for new legislation that would further restrict women's rights when it comes to abortions. Now, Texas is not famous for their understanding or their, well, let's just put it this way, they're very intolerant when it comes to the decision of the mother to make obviously one of the hardest choices of her life. But you know, old white guys, they know what women need and want. So last year, the Texas Republicans tried to pass legislation that would make it to where Planned Parenthoods and any other facility that would perform an abortion, they would need to have the exact same dimensions in their hallways and among many, many other specifications that hospitals must follow. So things like, hallways wide enough for two gurneys to pass each other while they're going, just things like that. And you have to realize that these clinics are very small anyways, so it wouldn't make sense to do it. And it was just a roundabout way of trying to restrict access to abortions. And then, those tapes came out, they were discredited, and even in Texas, a grand jury actually indicted the same people who made that Planned Parenthood hit video were indicted by that grand jury because the grand jury saw that they were lying and obviously going and spreading false information about Planned Parenthood. So now what are they up to? Well, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, staunch supporter of this legislation, has his own opinion on what women should do after they get abortions. So this legislation is going to mandate any aborted fetuses, miscarriages, even after 20 weeks, if there's a problem with the baby, you can't get rid of it. The government's going to force you to carry a malformed fetus to term. And what happens if you have an abortion before that 20 weeks or miscarriage before that 20 weeks? You have to give the baby a funeral and a ceremonial burial. Just think about that. Think about somebody in your family, a friend, a daughter, a sister. Some of them have had abortions. And you're seriously going to make the person going through one of the most difficult times of their life have to humiliate themselves publicly by holding a funeral for a zygote, for a couple of cells? This is madness. So, Governor Patrick, I should say, had this to say: "Nothing we do is more important than protecting innocent life." He's referring, of course, to the fetuses here. "Texans count on us to do everything possible to make sure that the sanctity and dignity of life is protected." In wake of discovering the notorious Planned Parenthood videos last year in which employees were caught callously discussing the procurement of aborted baby parts, the Texas Senate is taking aggressive steps to criminalize these despicable acts. But the Planned Parenthood videos were fake. Dan Patrick. They weren't real. The people who made them got indicted by the same grand jury that was trying to indict Planned Parenthood. Seriously. I don't know if he's stupid or if this is just the way that he's gonna go after this situation, because he honestly believes that Planned Parenthood is out there to kill babies. But I almost guarantee you it's not his religion, and even if it was his religious beliefs that abortion's wrong, well, that's your belief. You can't force that belief onto other people. Personally, I'm against abortion in the sense that if I had a kid, or if I had a girlfriend and I got her pregnant, I would want that baby to be carried to term. Even if she didn't want it, I would offer myself, I would, in a heartbeat, say, whatever you got to do, I will raise this child on my own. I will never ask a thing from you, never do this or that. But it doesn't matter, because my opinion is still my opinion, and I can't make that choice for another person. But apparently, Dan Patrick thinks he can. And like I said, we've already seen the evidence from the video. We can go and find the facts on the internet. We can Google this. This is not rocket science. It's not hard to figure out. So Texas is like one of the strictest states on birth control. And it's not surprising seeing how Republican it tends to lean, even though a lot of people are saying it's going to become a blue state in a couple upcoming years. And that's true in theory, because there's a large number of Hispanics outgrowing the population of whites in the state. But at the same time, these minority groups are the ones who don't vote. So we're never going to see progress until people get out there and vote. Minorities vote, whites vote, blacks vote, everybody votes. Because voting is what dictates the dictators. If we want our voices heard, if we want the electorate to agree with the American people, then we should hold their feet to the fire. We should call them up. We should leave voice messages. We should write them letters. We should send them emails. Even leave them a comment on Facebook. It doesn't matter. We need to let them know that this is not okay. 26% of the women in Texas that have been polled agree that Texas is overstepping its bounds, compared to 21% who disagree and think everything is fine the way it is. Now, I almost guarantee you that almost all the people who are okay with the way things are now are old, white, female Republican voters. They're not going to have abortions. So just do your research, because this stuff is happening, and it's not the first time this has been proposed. You want to know who proposed it last time? Vice President-elect Mike Pence, when he was governor of Indiana. So I just want to share this information with you guys. Hopefully this doesn't pass, but if it does, we still have the chance of the Supreme Court striking it down like they did about the Planned Parenthood case. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see how it goes, how this plays out.